Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. The draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup next summer has been officially completed. We have all 12 groups ahead of next summer's tournament with a few playoff winners from each continent still to be decided. But we now know the road to the 2026 World Cup final and the route each team needs to take to get there. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at every single group individually, give you guys my thoughts, give you guys my predictions, who's going to come first, second, third, and fourth, and we'll see what it all looks like ahead of next year's World Cup. Let's get into it. Before we get started, let's also mention that this is the first 48-team World Cup with 12 different groups. This has never been done before, and because of that, there's different rules at play as well too. Mainly that no longer do only 2 teams qualify from each group. Now, the best third place teams will also join them into what is now called the round of 32. And those teams will be decided by whoever finishes as one of the 8 best third place teams out of 12. So with that being said, let's start with Group A, which of course has one of the first 3 hosts of this tournament, Mexico, joined by South Africa, Korea Republic, and a winner of the European Playoff D, which features North Macedonia, Denmark, Czechia, and Republic of Ireland. Now, this is amazing because the first game of this World Cup is officially Mexico versus South Africa. And this is taking me down a trip down memory lane because for those of us who remember here, the 2010 World Cup, one of the most fun, iconic World Cups in recent memories, of course, opened up with Mexico versus South Africa, where we got that iconic Shabalala goal and the iconic commentary from Peter Drury. Goal for South Africa, goal for all of Africa. And we're going to get a repeat of that game this year as well too, Mexico versus South Africa. Now, if we're looking at who's going to progress from this group, Mexico, of course, have a fantastic home support. That is going to help themselves, USA and Canada. They're playing at home. They're playing in front of their fans. We know that's an advantage because only 2 teams in the history of this competition have ever failed to qualify out of the group when hosting the tournament. That was, of course, South Africa in 2010 and Qatar at the last World Cup. Now, South Africa are in this group, but they're actually much better than they were 12 years ago. What is it now? 16 years ago. It doesn't feel like 16 years, but they are much better than they were 16 years ago. South Africa, for my money, are one of the most fun and exciting teams to come out of African football this year. And I actually think they will stand a really good chance of getting out of this group. Mexico are no longer the team, in my opinion, of the 2010s and the 2000s, where I thought they were the best team coming out of North Africa and a real problem for European and South American sides at World Cups. I don't think they're at that level anymore, but the home support makes them intriguing. Korea Republic are practically never present at these tournaments now. I think since 2002, maybe even earlier, but at least since 2002 when they hosted it, they're always here. And if you think about it as well too, for the most part, they're oftentimes qualifying for the next round. I think even last year, they went to the round of 16, or last tournament rather, they went to the round of 16 and only lost to Brazil. So people will probably sniff out Korea Republic, but I think they have as good a chance as anyone to come out of this group. And then, of course, the playoff that still has to be decided, that's going to be decided next year between North Macedonia, Denmark, Czechia, and Republic of Ireland. Now, that's kind of a lottery here, man. I'm not really sure who's going to progress out of that, but let's say, for argument's sake, it's Denmark, who, again, oftentimes find themselves at these tournaments. Let's say Denmark, for benefit of the doubt, qualify for this World Cup. I would actually have, and this is tough because I think all 4 of these teams would be pretty well even. I'm going to give Mexico an advantage here because they're hosting the tournament. I'm going to give Mexico top spot. I think I'm going to go South Africa second. I actually do think I'm going to do that. And I think I might go Korea Republic third. I think I might. Korea Republic, they find a way of getting something done at this tournament, which means that whoever is coming out of Europe will probably finish 4th. But I actually think this is one of the more well-balanced groups because I think any team that comes out of the playoff compared to these 3, it's kind of a lottery here, man. You're not looking at one team in this group miles better than anyone else. And you know what? I like often calling these kinds of groups. We always think of the group of death, right? Like when Germany plays Spain or when Brazil play Portugal. But these kinds of groups I like to call the group of depth because all 4 of these teams, no matter where you look, are pretty well balanced and will give each other a good game. So I'm actually going to say it finishes in this exact order, but I think this could go any way, honestly. Now on to Group B, where Canada, who are another host of this tournament, will play the winner of a European playoff, again, between Italy, Bosnia, Northern Ireland, and Wales. Qatar, who were, of course, the last host of the last World Cup, and Switzerland. Now, again, not a group where you see one team that looks miles and miles better than anybody. I know Italy have a pretty good chance of qualifying for this group, but this is no longer the Italy of the 2000s or the 90s or the 80s. In fact, Italy have not qualified for a World Cup since 2014. And forget about that. They haven't won a game in the knockouts since 2006 when they won it in the World Cup final. That is insane. So I think we have to look at Italy and with context, apply it and realize this isn't the Italy of Pirlo and Totti and Del Piero. This is it's a good team, but it's not an amazing team, right? Canada, I think, have looked really impressive since they hired Jesse Marsh. They obviously had the Copa America where they went all the way to the semifinals, and again, we'll have home support, so that has to go in their favor. Qatar are a much better team than the one that hosted the World Cup 4 years ago, which, despite having some high hopes, ultimately ended in a way they didn't want it to. And of course, Switzerland, who, similar to Korea, I mean, they almost always seem to qualify for these tournaments and at minimum tend to just make it to the round of 16 without fail. I'm going to go Italy to top this group. I think they still will have too much, despite actually losing to Switzerland the last Euros. I'm going to go Canada second. I'm going to go Switzerland third, and I'm going to go Qatar fourth. Now, this is a disclaimer here, right? I always get the jokes about, Lyes, where are you from? What nationality? You have 50 different nationalities. Let me make this very, very clear. I am born in Canada, spent a big part of my childhood in Canada, then moved to the US and spent an even bigger part of my childhood in the US. Now live in London, right, in England, but of Algerian heritage. So let me just tell you guys who I have stocks in at this World Cup, right? Canada is my nation of birth. Canada is where I spent formative years there. Canada is still a country in my heart. I will be supporting Canada at this World Cup. I want to see Canada do well at this World Cup, damn it. So don't question my support for Canada. Secondly, Algeria, the country of my blood, the country where my family is from. You got that? Come on. You know what this is. What's understood doesn't need to be explained. And the US, man. Don't get it twisted. I spent a lot of my life in the US, man. I still got family back there. I still got friends back there. I'm supporting the US in this World Cup too. Call me a sellout. If you call me a sellout, you're crazy. I got what? 3 nationalities, man. Got the passports to prove it as well too. So Canada, we will be there. I got for this group though, Italy, Canada, Switzerland, Qatar. Now, Group C looked like a potential group of death when the first 2 teams were pulled out of the hat. And that's because we saw Brazil and Morocco. And then we got Haiti and Scotland, and things look a little different now. But Brazil, obviously the record time winners of this competition with 5, up against now Morocco, who made history by becoming the first African team to reach a semifinal of this tournament, are now joined by Haiti, making their first ever appearance at a World Cup, and Scotland, who haven't made the tournament since 1998. Now, no matter what game you go to, I promise you this will be the best group at the entire World Cup in terms of atmosphere, because in Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland, you have die-hard, passionate fans. Some fans who have never seen their team play at a World Cup, and some fans who are the most passionate in the world. Morocco, for my money, are actually called, we basically know them as the Brazil of North Africa in terms of the way they play. Brazil, we know what their fan support is like. In Haiti, this is a momentous period in their history, maybe the biggest moment of their recent history after so much tragedy the past few years. This will mean more than anything for their fans just to even be at this tournament. And of course, Scotland, for such a big footballing nation, really underperforming at the international level, but really doing a great job of topping their group of Denmark and going to the World Cup for the first time since 1998. I'm going to go for this group. Brazil under Carlo Ancelotti. There are question marks, but I think they should have enough to top the group. I will go Morocco in second. I'll go Scotland in third. And I will go Haiti in fourth. Group D sees the final host of this tournament, the US, up against Paraguay, making their first appearance at a World Cup since, I believe, 2010. Australia, and a European playoff C winner. That European playoff winner will either be Turkey, Slovakia, Romania, or Kosovo. Now, when I look at this group, it's again very similar to Mexico's group, where you don't seem to have a real heavyweight anywhere, but all 4 teams will probably look at each other and say, oh yeah, we can certainly give the other problems. I'm going to just say, I reckon Turkey qualify for this tournament. So if you got Turkey, USA, Paraguay, and Australia, this is tough, but I'm going to think the US top this group. I know they've had issues under Mauricio Pochettino. I know they have. They haven't been good for the last 2 or 3 years. But I just have to believe that come World Cup time, the country will unite, the fans will be a huge boost in the stands, and these players will look at the moment, look at the atmosphere that they're around, and look at the chance that they've been given to host and play on a World Cup on home soil and take it and take full advantage of it. I have to believe that. So I'm going to go the US to top this group. I'm going to go Paraguay to come second. I'm going to go Turkey to come third. Ooh, and Australia fourth. Australia are actually a team, again, that do better at these World Cups than you would think. They are. But I'm going to go Australia fourth. I am. I'm going to go USA, Turkey, Paraguay, and Australia. That's my prediction. We go to Group E, where we have Germany, Curaçao, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ecuador. Now, this is a really interesting group for me because you have, of course, Germany, who by name are a huge powerhouse of the game, but to be honest with you, haven't really had a great tournament, Euro or World Cup since, what are we saying, 2016, where they went to the semifinals. Since then, they've been knocked out of 2 consecutive World Cup group stages, and at both Euros that they won hosted and then played in England a few years ago, failed to really do much at that tournament, right? So they're a big team, but I think they have to be very wary here because you have Cote d'Ivoire, who are the reigning AFCON champions from the previous edition, and they have real quality throughout their squad, and Ecuador, who, if you watch them through World Cup qualifying, were one of the most surprising teams in South American CONMEBOL qualifying, but they were damn good. Ecuador have a squad. In my opinion, they have a golden generation with the likes of Moises Caicedo, with the likes of Hincapié, etc., etc. I think Ecuador are one of my dark horses for this entire tournament. Not to win the whole thing, but to really cause upsets and actually make a good run at this thing. Curacao, this is a huge accomplishment for them, managing to get in over Jamaica in a CONCACAF qualification period that was a little easier because the US and Mexico and Canada were already automatically qualified, but they still have to get the job done. And Curacao, such a small country, but managing to unite and pull off this incredible achievement, this is a huge moment for them. And they're going to be playing Germany on the first day of this group. That is crazy. Can you imagine telling a Curacao fan 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, that in summer of 2026, they'd be playing Germany? That is insane, man. I'm going to go for Germany to top this group. I'm going to go for Ecuador to come second. I'm going to go for Cote d'Ivoire to come third and Curacao to finish fourth. Group F sees the Netherlands face off against Japan, Tunisia, and a European playoff winner between Ukraine, Poland, Sweden, and Albania. Now, first and foremost, that European playoff will be very, very difficult because, again, I think all four of those teams will fancy their chances against the other. Sweden have the strongest team on paper, but they were an absolute mess during World Cup qualifying. And the only reason they actually got into the playoff is because of what they did in the Nations League. So, yes, they have Isak. Yes, they have Gyökeres. Yes, they have Kulusevski. On paper, they should be beating Ukraine, Poland, or Albania. But I think football's not played on paper, and they are going to struggle. I'm actually going to look at Lewandowski and Poland. I'm going to give them the benefit here. Lewandowski, legend of the game. I'm going to hope, not just say, but I hope Lewandowski can make one last run at the World Cup and qualify in what is probably going to be his last tournament. But if we say Netherlands, Japan, Poland, and Tunisia, I think the Dutch actually have an interesting team. I think they're really strong at the back. They have a pretty solid midfield. And up front, they have Memphis Depay, who is their record goal scorer ever. But I think maybe that's the one position where they could be a little better. But I actually think they will qualify out of this group pretty comfortably. Now, after that, I'm going to go Japan second. Japan, at every World Cup I can remember watching, are a problem. And last tournament, they found themselves in the group of death with Germany and Spain. And they qualified for the next round. Japan, I got them finishing second, a constant at these World Cups, so consistently good. I'm going to go Poland, man. I'm not going to lie. This Tunisia team doesn't really do it for me. I'd love to see Tunisia qualify for the next round, but I have to be honest here. I think whoever comes out of this European playoff, and in this scenario, we'll say Poland or Sweden or Ukraine, I think they'll go to the next round, or at least they'll finish in third, and I got Tunisia finishing in fourth. Group G is a super interesting group here with Belgium, Egypt, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and New Zealand. Now, Belgium have yet again qualified for a tournament, and yet again, they are a pot one team, but this is no longer the Belgium side with Eden Hazard, with a peak Kevin De Bruyne, with a fit and firing Romelu Lukaku. No, this is a Belgium team reeling off that golden generation and really trying to find their next one. And yes, there are some quality players like Jeremy Doku, Trossard, Tielemans, Onana. They have a decent team. I'm not going to pretend like they don't, but of the actual pot one teams that had to qualify for this tournament, so not including USA, Mexico, and Canada, this is probably the weakest team that made it through. Egypt are in this tournament. Mohamed Salah getting one last crack at the World Cup, and he looks a lot better equipped to do something at this tournament than he did 8 years ago in 2018 because he's got his right-hand man in Omar Marmoush. He's got a much better Egypt team. They could potentially do something at this tournament. Islamic Republic of Iran, again, a team that has made the last, 4 World Cups, I believe, since 2014. They got a squad. And then New Zealand, who haven't qualified for the tournament since 2010, but due to new qualifying rules, found it much easier coming out of the Oceanic qualifying period. I'm going to go for Belgium first, Iran second, Egypt third, and New Zealand fourth. Group H is very interesting with Spain, the reigning Euro champions, and at the moment, I believe the #1 team in the FIFA World Rankings. They will play Cabo Verde, playing their very first World Cup ever, joined by Saudi Arabia, a team that shocked Argentina on the very first day of last World Cup before Argentina won the whole thing, and Uruguay, who have always made these tournaments, have had some really good runs in the past, but are entering a new era with Darwin Nunez up front rather than Luis Suarez and Fede Valverde in midfield. It is an interesting Uruguay team. Can they do something at this tournament? They failed to qualify out of the group, the last one, which was a big shock. I'm going to go Spain to win this group easy. They look like the best team at the moment. If you're not, maybe them, Argentina, France, they look irresistible at the moment. I'm going to give them first in this group. I'm going to go Uruguay second. I'm going to go Saudi Arabia third. And I'm going to go Cabo Verde fourth. I actually think Saudi will do something at this tournament. Now, Group I might be the most difficult group out there, honestly. Like, France, we know what France are about, right? Back-to-back World Cup finalists, of course, winners in 2018. They'll be playing Senegal, who famously knocked them out of the World Cup in the group stage all the way back in 2002 and are an amazing African team. They, until recently, were on a 30-plus game unbeaten run before losing to Brazil. They're a real problem with a beautiful mix of that AFCON winning team in, was it 2021, 2022? Can't remember exactly what year it was. And a new generation of Senegalese players like Habib Diarra, like Iliman Ndiaye, real top players that play all around Europe's top 5 leagues. They'll, of course, be joined by Norway and the big monster himself, Erling Haaland, who absolutely destroyed World Cup qualifying with Norway, qualifying them for their first tournament since 1998, and a FIFA playoff tournament winner between Iraq, Bolivia, and Suriname. I'm going to be honest, I think France are going to win this group. It's not going to be easy because I think Senegal and Norway are tough teams. And I'm going to be honest as well too, I think either one of Bolivia, Iraq, or Suriname will finish bottom of this group. I think it's really between Senegal and Norway that is going to be a really interesting matchup. Who is going to come out in second place in this group? Maybe one of them finishes and qualifies as third. But second place, I'm going to actually give it to Norway because although Senegal as a team, maybe from 1 to 11, have more impressive players than Norway, I think this Norway team under Erling Haaland's reign, man, they blitzed Italy in the likes in World Cup qualifying. And I'm actually going to give them second. I think Haaland, his first opportunity on the global stage, is going to take this with 2 hands. And he's a generational player. Generational players at big tournaments make their mark. And I think Erling Haaland will this tournament. So I got Norway coming second, and I got Senegal coming third. Now, Group J. They done us dirty, man. They done us dirty. Argentina, world champions, back-to-back Copa America champions. The GOAT, Leo Messi, will be facing Algeria. I was watching this draw and praying, please give us Mexico's group. Give us the US's group. Give us Canada's group. Give us Belgium's group, damn it. What did they give us? They gave us Leo Messi. What did they give us? They gave us the world champions. What did they give us? They gave us a team that's won their last 3 tournaments. What did they give us? The best team potentially on the planet. Thanks, FIFA. Algeria will be playing against Argentina. We'll also be playing against Austria, and we'll talk about Austria in a second, and the group is rounded off by Jordan. Now, Argentina, they should win this group. I think they should. This is a really, really good team that have won all these tournaments for a reason. And I actually look at Lionel Scaloni, and I think he is the closest thing to a club manager at the international scene that the game has on offer. His team plays like a club team. And although Messi is no longer the Messi of 2010, 2015, 2020, he is still an unbelievable player that in one moment can create moments of magic at a whim. He is ridiculous still, and especially at an international level where the game is a bit more chaotic and open and it prioritizes individual star quality. I think Messi will have a good tournament, and I expect them to finish first. We play them first game of the group. I need to be out there, man. Someone at FIFA, shout me. I need to be at that game. Now, I believe that Jordan will finish bottom of this group. Don't count out Jordan. Definitely not. Moroccan coach as well, too. So he's going to want to get one over Algeria. But I think they're going to finish bottom of the group, which leaves Algeria and Austria to finish second in this group. Who will come out second of these two? Now, Austria are probably the better team. I'm going to be honest here. Under Ralf Rangnick, since he took over the federation, Austria have been flying. They qualified for the last Euros. They topped a group with France and the Dutch and only narrowly lost to Turkey in the was it round of 16 or quarterfinals? I think it was round of 16. They are really good. And again, they did well in qualifying. So don't discount Austria. Algeria, this is not the same team that narrowly missed out on qualifying in 2022 or won AFCON in 2019. It's a different group. It's an older group with some really young players, but it's not as good in my opinion as we were 4 years ago. And with Petkovic, we have a coach with lots of experience in qualifying for World Cups and playing top international matches. But the mood for me amongst most Algeria fans isn't too optimistic, right? We think we have quality players. We think we have talented players. But like most national teams, I think the new group of players is struggling to break through while the old guard is still there. I think Algeria definitely has the talent to finish second or third in this group. Now, I think the interesting thing about this group is Algeria will play Austria, I believe, on the final day of this group. Meaning that at this point, it could be a straight shootout between these two to finish second and qualify automatically. Now, there's history between these two. A lot of you guys will not know this, but back in 1982, get in your seats. This is a teaching moment right here, right? This is class. 1982 World Cup. Algeria, Austria, Germany, and Chile all in the same group. This is back in the times where the World Cup final day games in the group are never at the same time. So Algeria plays their game against Chile and beats them. Now, Germany and Austria play later on, and they know that if Germany wins 1-0, both of them will qualify and Algeria will be eliminated. And let's be real, there's still relations dwindling on between Austria and West Germany. We know what that's all about. And thus, West Germany and Austria through this game, Germany scored in the first 10 minutes of the game and then proceeded to just pass the ball around without ever attempting to attack Austria. And Austria sat back without ever attempting to attack Germany. Played out a 1-0 result so both teams could qualify and eliminated Algeria in the process. It was a robbery. It is one of the biggest disgraces in all of football history. And to this day is known as the disgrace of Gijón. You guys got Wikipedia. Go look it up. This is revenge. This is personal for Algeria. Algeria versus Austria with the chance to go to the next round. We will be there. We will be there. I'll see you guys there. I don't care, man. I got Argentina, I got Algeria, I got Austria, and I got Jordan. Group K sees Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal play against Uzbekistan, Colombia, and a winner of the FIFA playoff tournament 1, which will be between New Caledonia, Jamaica, and DR Congo. And I'm going to be real, guys. I think DR Congo will qualify for this with ease. They're a really, really good team. But Portugal, this is the best Portuguese team I have probably seen since World Cup 2006. Now, the irony is Cristiano Ronaldo is coming towards the end of his career, and you think, what if he had this group of players around him back in his peak? But regardless, Vitinha, João Neves, the two heartbeats of PSG's treble-winning team last year. Bruno Fernandes, one of the best midfielders in the world. A great defense, it's a great team. Honestly, Portugal are fantastic. And Cristiano Ronaldo will be looking to end his fairy tale career with one last mark, the World Cup. The only thing that's missing off his resume. But it'll be difficult because Colombia are a much better team than they were 4 years ago when they failed to qualify for the World Cup. This is giving me more flashes of 2014 World Cup with James, with the crew, Jackson Martinez. This is giving me flashbacks of that team. They obviously narrowly lost in the Copa America final against Argentina a few years back on penalties, but with Luis Diaz, Munoz, and a James Rodriguez that's no longer at his absolute best, but still kicking it. I think they're going to be a really good team this tournament. Uzbekistan, this is their first appearance at this World Cup ever, so let's see what they can do. And DR Congo, from experience, are a fantastic team. They are a problem that nobody wants to face. I promise you that. I'm going Portugal, I'm going Colombia, I'm going DR Congo, and I'm going Uzbekistan. And finally, Group L. England, chasing destiny, chasing their first World Cup win since 1966. Will face Croatia, who eliminated them from the World Cup in 2018 at the semifinals. Two-time semifinalists in the last two editions, made the final in 2018, and just in general, a team that nobody wants to play. Croatia are a problem side, man. Honestly, experience basically flowing out of their ears, a quality all across the pitch, a fantastic midfield, and Luka Modric, Benjamin Button, never wants to age. They'll be joined by Ghana, who qualified for this World Cup after being eliminated from the group stage in 2022, and then Panama coming out of CONCACAF. Now, I think England will win this group. Under Thomas Tuchel, they haven't been extraordinary in terms of a brilliant watch, but they were incredibly consistent throughout qualifying, winning every single game. Croatia should finish second in this group, and I'll give Ghana third with Panama finishing fourth. So there it is. That's the World Cup 2026 group stage draw with my predictions of who's going to finish and a brief analysis on each team. This is nothing official, but I will be making a video very, very soon, running through the entire tournament, doing my bracket challenge, and seeing who's going to win this World Cup based on the groups we just got given. Leave a like, leave a comment down below. Where did your country finish if you qualified for the World Cup? Are you happy with the draw? Are you upset with the draw? How do you think this is going to work out? Leave all of that down below. Make sure you subscribe. We're nearly at 100,000 subscribers. And guys, the World Cup is very, very soon. I will be there. We will be there. Catch you guys there. Peace.